Alrighty guys, well, we made it to 10 years. 10 entire years of the Xctome channel. Turns 10 today, April 25th, 2019. And this is like my 10th or 11th take at this video, and it's going to be my last. I'm going to use this clip no matter what. Before I go any further, don't mess with your brightness settings. Don't try to adjust anything on your computer screen. I have this camera that I'm using to record this video set up to record this way. It's called shadowing. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who has watched my videos and supported me for the last 10 years. It really means a lot to me. For all the positive support and all the support in general that I've got over the last 10 years, you've all changed my life. YouTube has changed my life. I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for YouTube, to be honest. And that's a hard thing to say. Growing up, when I was a kid, I really didn't have a good childhood. Everyone always made fun of me because I was interested in air conditioners and lawnmowers, and that's all I ever wanted to talk about. Everyone just saw me as weird, strange, out of place, never fit in, and always wanted to be alone. Really didn't want to have anything to do with any social situations. All I wanted to do was hang around the air conditioner or ride around on a lawnmower. If you've all watched my channel trailer introduction video, some of you might know this, some of you might not, but I have a condition called Asperger's syndrome, which is on the autism spectrum, which is an autism spectrum disorder. And one of the key traits of Asperger's is a fixation on certain objects and fixation of interest, a strong interest on certain things, and mine happens to be air conditioners and lawnmowers. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, as I was a kid growing up, going through school and all of that, I was always made fun of. No one understood why I was this shy, strange kid who was into lawnmowers and air conditioners, who carried around books about air conditioners and lawnmowers everywhere I went, who always wanted to just talk about air conditioners and lawnmowers. No one really understood that. But a couple people did. And I'm going to tell how I got into HVAC. Back at my old house, we had a gas pack, a Carrier gas pack from 1984. Now, I was like 4.5, almost 5 years old. I didn't know what an air conditioner was back then. I knew what a lawnmower was because I started working on them when I was 3 years old, but I didn't know what an air conditioner was. I had no idea what this huge metal box on the side of the house was that made noise. And as a kid, I did not like loud noises. I still don't like loud noises. I love the sound an air conditioner makes, and I love the sound a lawnmower makes, but I don't like loud noises. Every time I would walk up to this big metal box that made a lot of noise, I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. Every time it come on, I'd run crying back into the house, just terrified, because that big thing on the side of the house scared me. One day, it was a summertime or springtime maybe. It was probably around this time. I don't remember exactly when, but it was air conditioning season. I remember a good friend who you all might know as the Goodman installer. It's not the people that's been in the videos of the Goodman. This was an older guy. He was actually the company owner of the company that put the Goodman in. He's the one that actually put the Goodman in, installed it himself. Well, actually, he didn't. He did all the finishing touches, made sure everything was good and all of that. But we would just call him the Goodman installer for the duration of this video. Back when I was a kid, I called him Paul the Air Conditioner Man, and I bleeped out his first name for privacy reasons. The Goodman installer was actually a good family friend of mine, and he's known me, well, he's known my parents long before I was even thought of. And one day, he came to visit, and I was in the backyard or side yard being a kid, and I walked up to the air conditioner, and it turned on and scared the absolute daylights out of me. I mean, it terrified me. And he saw how upset it made me and how scared I was. He walked over to me, picked me up, and he said, "Look, there's nothing to be scared of. This thing right here, it's nothing to be scared of." And he explained to me what an air conditioner was, told me what it was, explained all the components and what it does. And one thing I'll never forget what he said, he said, "This thing right here is keeping you comfortable. It's keeping your house comfortable for you." And unfortunately, that person passed away a couple years ago, and I miss him dearly. When I was 5 years old, during a home movie, which I don't have anymore, my parents asked me what I wanted to be when I got older, and I said I wanted to be like Paul the Air Conditioner Man. And all throughout my childhood, I learned everything there is about an air conditioner. I could sit here and tell you guys how an air conditioner works, what it does, what its purpose is, what condensation really is, how an air conditioner doesn't make cold air. All it does is remove heat from indoors and dumps it outdoors and leaves cool behind. I can lecture, as people call it, for hours on end about air conditioners or lawnmowers. I could sit here and tell someone who doesn't know anything about a lawnmower how it works. I can sit and tell someone who doesn't know anything about an air conditioner and tell them step by step how it works. It's pretty amazing. And there's not many people who see me as amazing, who sees me as a very knowledgeable individual. There are still some people in the world who see me as this weird person, and there's still people that laugh at me and pick on me and do things like that I went through as a kid. As a kid growing up, I really didn't have a childhood. I didn't have a wonderful childhood. I was often called the weird kid, the kid that likes air conditioners, this shy kid who didn't talk to anybody, didn't want to partake in any parties or get-togethers or things like that. All I wanted to do was sit and look at the air conditioner in the wall, look at the thermostat, read lawnmower books, read about HVAC. I didn't care about anything else but that, and that was my main two interests growing up. My earliest HVAC memory. The earliest HVAC memory that I have is the house that I used to live in. And quite a long time ago, I moved from that house. I moved from that house in 2006, August of 2006. And I really miss that house. I'm glad that the new owners are taking care of it. But my earliest HVAC memory, oh, that's a tough one. It would have to be 1999 maybe, 2000, somewhere around there. At the old house, we used window air conditioners primarily to only cool the areas that we would be in most often. So like if me and my parents were downstairs, we had a 8,000 BTU window unit downstairs that cooled the entire downstairs. And the upstairs, we only used one bedroom, so we had a 5,000 BTU window air conditioner in that bedroom that completely cooled the whole entire upstairs if conditions were right. But my earliest HVAC memory was around the year 2000. This was when my parents put in this 5,000 BTU window air conditioner. It was a Whirlpool. And I remember sitting on the bed with the air conditioner right in front of me, just completely mesmerized by it. Like I said, hey, this thing's pretty cool. And y'all won't believe what I did. I carved my initials into the condenser coil. So that's my earliest HVAC memory. People often wonder or ask me what I was like as a kid. And you heard me say earlier that I really didn't have a good childhood. And this is going to make me emotional to talk about this. Growing up as a kid who was different from everybody else in the world, I really didn't know anything as a kid. I mean, I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to be in school. I mean, when I was in school, I was just always alone and just happy as could be, and no one could figure out why I liked to be alone all the time. And everyone couldn't figure out why I was so into air conditioners and lawnmowers and things of that nature. And I was bullied a lot throughout school. It was really bad. And usually childhood's the best time of a person's life. For me, it was the worst time of my life. The only time I really felt happy and safe was when I was at home. It was about the only time. I didn't like school. It was horrible. No one understood me. Everyone laughed at me, made fun of me because I liked air conditioners and lawnmowers. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, I shouldn't say very few. There was, of course, a lot of happy moments. A lot of very good memories were made. But the majority of my childhood was just not the greatest. And that's something I never shared with you guys, is about how I was as a kid. And I'm not going to get too in detail of that because I don't want to be, emotional throughout the whole video. But I didn't have a great childhood. And when I moved out here, where I am now, I figured everything would change, and no, it didn't. It was the same old, and if not worse. When I was in 6th grade, I remember I was asked to stand in front of the whole class in this one particular class. And everyone was telling stories of what they wanted to be when they were older. And I said I wanted to work on air conditioners and lawnmowers. And everyone just laughed at me and made fun of me. I used to carry books to school that I would read, HVAC and outdoor power equipment books. Kids would take those from me and tear them up and stuff like that, and it was really bad. When I first started this channel, I thought I was the only one posting videos on air conditioners on the internet. I thought I was the only one. And then as the years went by, more and more people started doing it. I was like, hey, I'm not the only one. And then this whole community, I guess you can call it, evolved, and we got people everywhere that do these kind of videos. And it's amazing that the impact that a person can have on another person's life, a positive impact, is absolutely amazing. I just want to thank you guys. I just really, really can't thank you all enough for the support over the years. I started this when I was 13 years old. I started this channel when I was going through some really hard times, and it was the best thing I could ever do, is put these videos up for the world to see. And I never felt this much positivity and this much niceness in the world. I'm here on YouTube doing these videos and commenting to others, answering comments, answering emails, answering messages. It's the most wonderful thing in the world, and I'll get to that in a moment. I'm 23 years old now. 10 entire years I've done this. I've put up videos on air conditioners. I've been almost to every state. Well, not almost. I've been to a handful of states, done HVAC videos there. I've been overseas in Europe and done HVAC videos over there. I mean, the opportunities are endless. That is me standing next to a really old package unit. And it was the first HVAC install I ever went on. And it was not 2003, it was 2004, I believe. I have to look, and I can always put a caption, but it was 2003, 2004. HVAC install day. It was actually sort of like a birthday present for me because it was in January. I remember I got to stay home from school for this exciting event. So this was at another house that my parents owned. I won't get into too many details on any of that because it's too personal. But it was at another house my parents owned that another family member lived at. And the heat went out. And it would cost too much to fix the old thing. So a brand new 2-ton package unit was put in. And here I was, just a little kid, 6, 7 years old. And I was there the entire day helping him put that unit in. And in this picture, you can see I'm holding the install instructions for the new unit. And I remember the air conditioner man, as I'm going to call him throughout this video, he walked up to me and asked if I wanted to wire up the unit. And of course I did. And he showed me everything, showed me what each thermostat wire did and where it went, and it was just amazing. And I'll tell you another story going back a couple years from this one. When I was 5 years old, my parents used to do a lot of home movies of me, and there's a whole picture album of my childhood and everything. And I remember my parents asking me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be just like Paul the air conditioner man." And yes, I did bleep his name out there. And well, it never did happen. I didn't get into HVAC for a couple of reasons. The reason I didn't get into HVAC is mainly because of all the licensing and all of that. It takes a lot to get a mechanical license in my state. What I should have done is, before the rules changed on the licensing, is I should have went into HVAC. But instead I decided to follow my first interest and get into outdoor power equipment, which is what I am doing now. And some of you may know I'm also into real estate. I never did see myself being this successful because of what my childhood was like. People often ask me what it's like to be me. And I really can't describe that because I am who I am, and everyone in the world is just different. I knew from a very young age that I was different from everyone, and I just didn't know why. All I knew is I loved air conditioners and lawnmowers and anything mechanical. Everyone often wonders how I got into video production and video editing and stuff like that. When I was real little, probably around 4 or 5 years old, I taught myself how to use a computer. And that was back when Windows 95 was still around. It was right around the end of 95, Windows 95. Right around the beginning of 98, 98 SE, and Windows 2000. I was real good with 98 SE and Windows 2000. I got into video production long before I started making these videos. And this is probably the most highest quality cinematic movie type of video I've ever produced. And I've done stuff before that anyone can do. I've recorded the way anybody can do. I mean, anyone can pick up a camera and record something, but it's just, with me, I taught myself everything that I really know. About 85-90% of everything that I know, from computers to cameras to HVAC to building construction and building science, I taught myself. throughout school, it was hard for me when I was in school. Everyone always gave me a hard time. No one wanted to just, sit down and be my friend. And everyone always joked around with me, and I didn't like that. I didn't like all the jokes, and it'd be hours after a joke was said that it finally hit me, and I would be like, oh, they're talking about me. And that they were laughing at me. They weren't laughing at the kid next to me, they were laughing at me. In second grade, this is where all of it started to happen. I didn't have the nicest second grade teacher. I would always be called disruptive in school. That's because the school didn't know how to handle me. They didn't know anything about me. Going back to video production, all throughout elementary school, I was heavily involved with audio-visual projects and computers. The school that I went to had a morning TV show that was broadcast live to a local channel in the vicinity of the school district, and I picked up pretty quick on how to work everything, and I was the one responsible for going to the back room of the library every morning and making sure the camera equipment was working, make sure everything was good. And I didn't handle none of the technical stuff, but I knew there was a TV tower out in the back of the school, and that's where everything broadcasted from. My job was to make sure that the camera was set up and to start the broadcast. And then the computer lab teacher took over the rest and handled the more technical stuff. Throughout school, elementary school that is, it was around, I want to say third grade is when I started getting into music. Some of you often ask how I got into music, because you all know I write and record my own songs using a computer program. It's because I don't have the time or the space available in my house for a music studio like I would want one day to have. But it was right around in third grade where I got heavily involved in music, and it was out in a portable building. And for those of you who do not know what a portable building is, it's sort of like a mobile home, but it's a portable classroom. And they usually have barred wall-hung packaging that's hanging off the side of it. So the music class was held out in the portable building. And that is where I would learn how to play instruments. That's where I'd learn how to play the drums, how to play guitar, how to play keyboard, piano. You name it, I was playing it as a kid. And I had the nicest band teacher ever. At the end of third grade, when I went into fourth grade, that is where things would get really bad. And some stuff I'm not going to bring up because it's way too emotional for me to even bring up and even look back on, but I had the most rudest, most meanest, most horriblest fourth grade teacher. And I'll never forget the things that were said to me, the things that were done to me, the things the other kids said and done to me. I'll never forget that. In fourth grade, I would get sent to the principal's office a lot. That was basically the teacher's excuse, just to get me out of the classroom, because they didn't know how to handle me. They didn't know that I couldn't be in a classroom full of people at the time. That was right about then when I made friends with the assistant principal. I made him our best buddies. So it got so bad at that particular school that after a lot of arguing, and things of that nature, my parents pulled me out of that school and put me in another school that was about 10 times as worse, come to find out. And I remember I didn't like anybody in this school. And this was 2006, and it was about the time that my parents decided to move to a different town, different school district, and hope things would be better. So I remember going house hunting. This was back in the summer of 2006, June and May and June of 2006. My parents and I were looking at houses. We looked at brand new houses that had condensing units set so crooked and unlevel that it was ridiculous. And I didn't want no new construction home, neither did my parents. Because they were just nothing but cookie cutter houses that were poor construction with condensers unlevel and pulling away from the building they were hooked up to. So we went and looked at one house in particular. I'll never forget, it was a double wide mobile home on about 6 acres. And it hadn't been lived in quite some time. It was a fixer-upper. I mean, we had nothing but time. And I remember we went out there and looked at it, and it had a split system from 1989. I remember it was a inner city products of some kind, or Snyder General unit. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I remember looking at this house, coming back the next day to meet with a real estate agent, only come to find out that when my parents and I pulled into the driveway to this house that it was engulfed in flames. And I've never seen a house on fire before, and it's the scariest thing ever. There's a fire and rescue people, and the police all standing there telling us to get back, that the house is on fire, and all that stuff. It was a sight I'll never forget, and I really liked that house. Time to clean an evaporator coil. It's a really nasty evaporator coil, that is. Power is off. Kind of gross looking, isn't it? It's quite pleasant. Let's get a close up. And put the camera back some so I don't spray it. So hose her down. This stuff smells good, at least. It's already starting to foam. My first time using coil cleaner, I might have not mixed it right. I hear it doing stuff. Add a little bit more water while y'all watch it. Alright, time to rinse it. The dirt just coming right off. It looks like our condensate pan's clogged up. I need to fix that, so I need to turn the camera off for that, or move it back some. Up. Draining now. Doing something. Look at this. There's our coil cleaner coming out. That was clogged up. Alright. I had coil cleaner spray all over me, but this is non-acidic, so it's not going to hurt me. It's going to need another dose. Probably should have wet the coil before I'd done this, but there's a first time for everything, and this is my first time doing a coil clean. This stuff smells good. Let's hose it down one more time. Actually quite fun. Yeah, she's starting to foam a little bit if I spray it heavy. This thing will quit leaking though. That's what you get for a cheap $11 sprayer. Now it's foaming a little bit. I'll let it sit a minute. And then hose in. I might have not used enough coil cleaner, but it is definitely foaming a little bit. it's foaming. Clear that drain line out. I'm not using enough water, that's what I'm thinking. This ain't gonna be perfectly clean, but clean enough. A stubborn coil. Drain line's clogged up. This thing's been wet before, so it ain't gonna hurt nothing. Blow it out again. It's draining. It's getting clean. Coil cleaner actually works. I mixed it right. I'll let it drain. We're getting some foaming action. Time for a rinse. That stuff just come right off. getting cleaner. It smells a lot better. I got a little bit of coal cleaner left, so I'm going to use it now. I think next time I'll use more coal cleaner, that way it foams better. I used too much coal cleaner, not enough water, that's what it was. This thing not build pressure all of a sudden. There we go. Next coal that I clean, I'm going to use less coal cleaner and more water. Oh, that's good and foamy now, coming out of there. I'll let it drain out. That condensate drain thing must be plugged, and it is with garbage. Ugh. That's gross. That's actually draining now that I got that crud out of there. I don't like cleaning A-coils. They make a mess inside of the package unit, but it's necessary. If I didn't get the blower wet, I'll find out though. Alright, let me wait till this drains, and then I'll close it up, because that's about as good as I want to get it. The coal can wash the remaining coal cleaner out because it's not going to hurt it. But next time I do this, I'm going to use less coal cleaner and more water and make it really foam. But I'll clean this coil again soon. Well, you can see it foaming really well at the bottom because there's less coal cleaner and more water. Alright, let me button this up. Get the wet glove on. That panel is hot. I don't want to lose my screws. Unfortunately, I have a customer at my shop, so I gotta go open the gate before I get in trouble. And let's turn this thing on and see what it does. I'm gonna shut the water off too. I'm not sure I'd love to stick around, unfortunately I can't. Business is business though, but that was my first ever coil clean. One more thing I gotta do. Now that the drain line's nice and clean. Yeah. I can condensate the rest of the way clean. This thing's off level, so that's why it's not draining right. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Well guys, I don't have the camera on the tripod because I got the Frigidaire going, if you can hear it. You might can even see it. I got the exposure on the camera set to brighten out, but there you can kind of see it. It's on. But anyways, I just want to give you edit. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for watching my videos over the years. It really means a lot to me. I can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. Each and every one of you are amazing, and I can't thank you all enough. I mean, for 10 years I've done these videos, and you guys have been there from the beginning. Some of you have. Some of you are new, some of you have been here from the beginning, but majority of you guys have been here since the beginning, and I greatly appreciate it. And like I said, I cannot thank you guys enough. Each and every one of you mean a lot to me. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. And 10 years. It's crazy to think it has been 10 years. It's hard to believe too that it's been 10 years. A decade of HVAC videos. And I thank you guys again for all the positivity, all the nice comments, and all the support over the years. It really means a lot to me to know that there's people out there that understand me and that share the same interest as me. I think that's just an amazing thing. Anyways, this camera's getting kind of heavy to hold. But I just wanted to say these closing words because the movie's over. But it doesn't have to be. There's 10 years of videos on my channel, and there's more to come. It's just whenever I have free time, I'm able to make videos because I'm a very busy person. But anyways, just again guys, I want to say thank you guys so very much for not only understanding me, but for taking the time to watch this very, very long video that tells the story of Xctome and who I am. And I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you guys. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.